Quick disclaimer before we get into the video, your inner critic will try to fight me on what I say. So just try to put him aside. Maybe imagine pushing him into the corner of the room while you focus in on what I'm saying here. So let's talk about perfectionism. Yes, mastering your craft is really important, but I just don't believe it's more important than expressing your raw emotion and your authentic expression. I truly believe that what this world needs more of is messy, imperfect, unfinished art. Because when we start sharing our works in progress, this is when we will start to see our worth in everything that we create. We will start to see our art as worthy. We will not put so much expectation and so much pressure on the final outcome. We will actually be more present and more in tune with the creation process itself. And that's when the authentic expression really comes through. Because if we focus constantly on the final outcome, we are missing the point of creation. We are missing the point of all of it. Because what is the point of creating? I think it's about being present, about exploration, about playfulness, about finding a way to express outwardly what you feel within. If I was always only focused on mastering my craft and perfecting my work, I would never hit publish on anything. And I mean anything I create, because I have really high expectations of myself, and I believe most of us creators do. That's what pushes us to evolve, to learn more, to get better at what we do. But we need to find the balance. We need to see it as a dance. Because hoarding your art and not sharing it because it's not ready is hurting your self-trust. And if you don't have strong self-trust, you can't have a thriving creative practice. Imagine if it was normal to see works in progress on social media and not just a highlight reel of finished products. How much better would all of us feel about ourselves? How much less pressure we would put on ourselves, and how good it would feel to create the things that we create. We will show up to create our art without some kind of mystical, abstract expectation that we have of this perfect thing that exists somewhere in our imagination. We would show up to create our art, to create it. We would show up to show up. We would write songs because we have songs within us. We would paint because our hands can't help but to make the brush strokes. We would dance because we have a body. And we would just show up for the process. So to go a little bit deeper of what perfectionism is, Elizabeth Gilbert in her book Big Magic calls it just a fancy word for fear. And I think it's not just any fear, it's the fear of being seen. And this fear is really deep within all of us. Because if we go deeper than that, why are we afraid of being seen? We are afraid someone is going to judge us, that we are going to be ridiculed, that we are going to be expelled from the tribe, essentially, because this is where this stems from. When we lived in tribes, That's my toddler screaming in the background. When we lived in tribes, if we were expelled from our tribe, that meant secure death. So this is, in its core, the fear of death. And, well, I think sometimes it is helpful to dig deeper and to do the shadow work and all of that. Most of the time, I don't think it's necessary, and I think it just gets us too much in our heads, and it gets us in this loop of healing to get to the root cause, but there is always a root cause behind that, and a root cause behind that. So I think something that's much more powerful is to heal through following our curiosities and through play, through exploring the things that bring excitement in our lives. So maybe we don't have to dig deeper to get to the core of what perfectionism means for us or how we developed it, because there are many things in our society that made us perfectionists, because it's really common with pretty much 99% of creators I talk to, and for myself as well, it's the most common thing that stops us from sharing our art. So instead of unpacking and digging deeper and deeper on why we are the way we are, let's just focus on things that can help us, okay? So 2 things that I feel are most important in healing from perfectionism are self-worth and self-trust, and they are intertwined, because when we have self-trust, we will see worth in everything that we create, and we will know and feel in our bodies that we are inherently worthy. So 2 things to explore here are, number 1, how can we finally start seeing our real worth and realize that it is selfish to keep our art away from the world? And number 2, how can we trust ourselves enough so that we take inspired action when we feel the impulse to do it? So if we start with self-worth, firstly, there will be no space for self-doubt to exist if you understand and feel with your mind and your body that you are just a vessel for the universe, for God, for consciousness to speak through. So when you receive ideas that make you feel butterflies in your stomach, that make you feel excited, that make you feel alive, and you take action on them, you are basically just doing your job. This is you taking responsibility for your reincarnation, your purpose as a conscious creator here on Earth. Because when you take a look at nature, everything works perfectly there, right? Like everything works in perfect harmony, even though it's not perfect. And who created all of that? Who created nature? Who created you? Whoever did create all of that did a pretty good job. And we would never doubt their creations. We would never doubt God, right? So close your eyes for a second and feel in your body that you are God's creation. And whatever you are here to bring on earth is God speaking through you. The ideas you get, they have a higher purpose. They are here to initiate you and to activate you. And if you stop the process there, if you block the river, the creation river there, you're not fulfilling their purpose, because those ideas were meant to materialize as creations that were then meant to impact others' lives, other people, and activate something within them. So it's a really big responsibility and really important purpose that you have here. And we just can't let something silly like perfectionism, like expecting it to be perfect, to stop us from doing our job. And there are many things that you can do, like little things that can help you in your process to actually move through perfectionism when you sense it. And often perfectionism shows up as procrastination. So when you find yourself postponing on creating something, or even if you created that and you came to a point to publish it, and then you find yourself postponing hitting publish, take a moment to pause and just ask yourself, is this a reflection of my inner truth at this point in my journey? If it is, if it feels authentic, if it feels like a piece of you, it's perfect, and there's no question about it. Yes, it can be refined further, but just remember that it can always be refined, and if you stay in that loop, you are not allowing that creation to fulfill its purpose. And its purpose was to express the truth and allow the truth to impact others and activate others. And I'm not saying that all art and all creations should be shared. Some art is just for us. And you will know which art and which creations are for you, because just throughout the process of creating it, you will feel complete. And you will also know if you create something and you feel the excitement about sharing it with others, sharing it with the world, but you're not allowing it for yourself because it's not ready yet, it's not perfect, and so on. We know these things, like we know the difference. So I'm speaking about the art, about the letter, about the art that is asking to be shared with the world. And to move on to the second part, which is self-trust. Self-trust is something that is built not overnight. It's something that is built through many tiny actions that we take. And this is again the dance of our inner artist and our inner muse. I see our creation process as a dance of our feminine and our masculine energies. And our inner artist is our inner masculine, and our inner muse is our feminine. And we need them both in healthy expressions of themselves so we can birth our creations into the world. And self-trust is basically, so trusting yourself in your creative process means that your muse, the ideas that come to you, your muse feels safe with your inner artist. And how will she feel safe? If she can count on your inner artist, if she can count on him showing up for her, creating the container, holding space, keeping his promises. I'm gonna show up tomorrow for 2 hours and I'm going to write. I'm gonna work on my book. And then tomorrow comes and you're tired and you don't feel like it, and there's a million other things, so you don't show up. And you do that day after day, week after week, month after month. That's hurting the trust between your inner artist and your inner muse. So it's really important to start taking this tiny actions and take them consistently. If consistent means showing up every week for 2 hours, and for me, in this season of my life, as I have a toddler, this is consistent for me. If I can show up every week to film this video or to write my Substack, that's really consistent, and I'm freaking proud of myself if I do that. So consistent doesn't have to mean every day, like show up every day, pump out content every day. No. Define what consistent means for you and then do that. Put it in your calendar and show up. Create that sacred container so your muse can feel welcome and she can feel safe to show up for you. Okay, so we have gone through a lot in this video. I will be diving deeper into some of these topics, especially the dance of the inner artist and the inner muse, because there is so much to explore here, and I believe that it's the most important foundation for a fulfilling creative practice. So if you want to create your soul's offerings, if you want to show up for your art more, if you just want to have a more creative life, this is the foundation. So I'm excited to talk about that more in my future videos, or if you're on podcast, in my future episodes. And yeah, if this was helpful, then let me know in the comments below. Also, if you are looking for a first step to take in your creative liberation journey, I have a free guide called Reclaim Your Inner Artist, and I will leave a link below so you can go download that. And yeah, I will see you in the next one.